Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'm going to be continuing the vibe coding series. In this vibe coding series we are going to explore different tools, and today we are going to talk about Gemini. Now Gemini, if you open gemini.google.com, you will not technically see a couple of options that I'm going to show you. To come to this particular option, you need to come to something called aistudio.google.com. The link will be in the description. Go ahead and check it out. Once you come to this, you will probably get to quickly sign up, and then you can just log in your Google account or something like that. All of this AI Studio right now is technically free, so you get all the cool stuff available to free. And we have a lot more options. We can talk to Gemini Live, we can generate media, all of those things that you can try on your own time. But we are going to talk about build. We're going to talk about build because this is Gemini's or Google's own version within Gemini to kind of build your own applications, right? So we're going to try to build something super cool, something super interesting, and also see how does the platform compare to other tools. If you want to see other videos on the vibe coding series, go ahead and check them out in the description. But till then, let's try to understand what Gemini is doing here. So if you can see, here are some of the applications that already exist, right? So let's say if I click on probably a quick one, and I see and I probably try to create a quick one. This is the application that has already been created. I can obviously make my own changes and create a version of itself, but this is a quick DJ application which should technically allow you to listen to some music. And let's see, if once it starts playing, I will technically switch on the audio so you can see. I believe you can hear this now. Right, interesting, right? Again, so you can build anything like this, very cool, super cool stuff, initial simple applications, and then share them with the world. So let's try to build something super simple, right? Again, I technically want to try something like a game, right? And I want to try a game that is based in Indian history and kind of like an educational information style game with some interesting elements, right? So let's see, build an educational instruction game, walking a person through the history of India, where a king is trying to unite India based in an alternative history. Make it 8-bit and interactive, right? So very simple. Let's see what we come up to, right? I am not expecting a lot right now, but it would be interesting to see what Gemini does with this, right? The best part is that's pretty much what you need to do, right? Again, and it automatically starts thinking out what do we need to do, right? Now again, after that, you can see the prompt also. I'm now focusing what a world-class senior front-end React Gen engineer actually means in this context. That's pretty interesting to see that it's kind of like using a system prompt which asks us to think based on a persona and then come to this part. And then again, it will take some time from here, and again, very simply start building it. It will probably take in the last couple of options that I've tried, it takes a couple of minutes. So I'm going to fast forward this and actually show you what does the first output come out as. Okay, perfect. So this is what has come up. It took roughly around a minute or so to do this, and again, I'm just running this application on what does this come to. So loading Chronicle. Now, okay, the best part is it took a lot of history into account. King Vikramaditya does is actually a real king and everything, and it gives you an option to choose something. And this is interesting, it gives you options rather than asking you to do something. So okay, so sending messengers and everything. Let's see what happens. Below the city of weekends. Okay, so you also get images, which is super cool. Again, obviously not very era related. This is not how the history of Ujjain or any part of India look like. But again, this is interesting. Obviously there's some small errors and stuff there. Why should we look beyond what then unity and etc. So let's try to make a couple of changes, right? Make the UI much better and see if we can convert this to a bit more interactive and modern design, but keeping the era of 19. Right, so let's see what it comes, because I want to see what it comes and converts it into a, instead of an 8-bit UI, it converts it into a more material style or something modern UI. because this is good, but again, I don't like the fonts a lot and everything, right? So again, what tangible benefit does this proposed pastry offer us, etc. It's a pretty good, like, it created a text style game, and that's interesting. I would have tested, like, I want to see if we can create, like, you can say using 3D.js and, like, kind of create like a small world style format, and let's find, like, some inspiration for that, right? So I don't know, can we, yeah. So let's look at one of my favorite game is Good Game Empire, which I used to play as a kid. Love the game, right? Again, can we create something like this, right? Like, so let's copy this as an image, right? And come back to Studio, paste this as a reference, and then also maybe take a couple of more images on how castles and all are supposed to look like. I love this game. It used to be super difficult, but then they made it very easy and added a ton of microtransactions. I went back to it, but, like, just did not feel the same. Shout out to them. Okay, so let's see. It is still updating, right? So again, you'll see this getting updated, and the best part is you can also see the code being written. And obviously, like, I'll show you a couple of more features that exist here. But the best part is, like, you can see the code being written, the file structure, everything in a single place, which is pretty interesting because it kind of feels like vibe coding in anything else, but also, like, a bit more, like, you can choose it as you want. You can see the code. I love this feature that this exists, right? Like, you can see this, and if you just want to wipe code without seeing the code, you can do that. The font is not great. I would have loved if I had chosen a better font, like a bit more old font. Okay, I think it's still developing a couple of things, right? So okay, let it completely develop. You can see all the files that are being written here, right? I mean, obviously, and you can also preview the files of the code and everything written here, right? Again, so this is pretty interesting. Like, I love that. You have the option of XYZ. The name is not super great, 8-bit India, right? But let's see what it comes out to be. We'll give it a couple of seconds. But it's fine, done. But I don't think, like, I don't know how good it has become. It's now doing this whole consulting sieges and everything. Okay, so looks a bit better, right? Again, the yearization, the land is Bharat Varsh, and, like, okay, it keeps repeating this. Again, I would have, like, again, and then you technically have, like, the path is long for the challenges. I would have preferred a better UI. You can see, like, a ton of difficulties, and, like, again, I went full screen, so you guys can't see anything properly. But click on this, and, like, again, it automatically, like, goes ahead and starts consulting the sages. You see Council of the Dream and XYZ and all of those things. I think it's, like, obviously, like, has some statements. We can obviously, like, see the options on how they're interacting. Is this a pre-created or is it using AI here? And, like, obviously you can go ahead and see that if it's already using an AI. I believe it's using, yeah, it's using the Flash model to generate everything else that is coming after it, right? So that's pretty interesting. Now let's try a bit more complex stuff, right? I wanted to create a more exploration specific thing, so I've asked it if we can use 3D.js to make it more interactive and exploration focused. Let's see what it comes out to, but I think this will take a bit more time, so I'm going to pause the video and fast forward this part. Okay, so I've been trying to do this for a couple of times now. Like, again, it tried to create a world. So again, like, very simply, it's trying to build a world, but it's running into multiple amount of errors. And I believe because, like, again, just like handling a world style map for this particular, like, again, it requires much more logic, right? Than, like, what you can wipe code to. It probably will figure it out. Like, I'm still, like, letting it, like, go through it. There's some error. It's kind of creating an infinite map. I believe this is, like, just an infinite map which has something or does not, and we need to see what comes out. And also the prompt was very basic, so this is also where you understand, like, if you want to build complex stuff, you need to give as much context and describe the prompts very well, right? So again, it's figuring out what the errors are and now going to go ahead and update the code. Another option that, I was trying to do was, like, showing the code editor. You can remove that, and you can also hide the code editor assistant if you want to. Again, no point. And you can hide the preview if you want to, and if you just want to work on the code editor. This is a cool small UI feature which works really well. Depends on who you are. If you're a developer, you might want to, like, see the code. If you're just doing vibe coding and don't want to see the code at all, just, like, get rid of it. That's pretty cool. And, like, the best thing is you can also, like, update the code here and everything, right? So you can also update the code yourself. So that's cool. Like, you have all three options, kind of like a good option on how a developer uses it. And given that it exists on AI Studio, that's the whole reason. Okay, we're going to hold it for a couple of minutes more and see what it comes out to be. Okay, so I've been here at, like, 10 to 20 minutes. Nothing's happening. Again, I've tried to fix it multiple times, so obviously not going to work. So what we're going to now do is trying to abandon this project, and that's how what will end up with vibe coding lot. And try to, like, just create something super simple, right? So just to show you that I can show you the other options. So one of the options I want to create is create a cool project management app, all the necessary features in dark theme, inspired from material design, right? And then just again enter that. It's probably going to be super easy because project management is not super difficult to create as an application, right? Once it does that, I'll show you. I want to show you these 3-4 options so that you can technically use this much better and go from there, right? So yeah, we're just going to wait for a couple of seconds and come back when the application is done. But finally we were able to create a simple project, again a project management tool. You have this beautiful Kanban board style format. Again, nothing super crazy or something. I can describe the task. Okay, so build a LLM, let's say, and it generates a task automatically using the Gemini model, which is interesting. Something that you will have to integrate externally in a lovable or a bolt can be generated automatically in there. I'm still waiting for it to generate, but again, this will be technically add 17 selected tasks, and you can see it added its own task and everything based on what it thought. Now again, you can do a couple of things here. You can either save the app, obviously. Again, you can save this as you require, and then this will get stored there. You can also download the app, right? When you download, you get all the files, all the code and everything, and then you can utilize that, right? The only good thing that you can do is actually deploy this to a cloud run, right? For that, you'll need to set up a cloud project and everything, but it is possible, and that is super something that you can surely use. And another option that you have is again, click on OK and share this. And once you click on share, this creates a link, and then you can share this with anyone that you want. So if I select this as anyone with link and copy the link and just paste this anywhere in the world, it will technically open this particular option for me to again see the code, see everything else, and even if I show you an incognito window, it will technically ask me to sign in into AI Studio, but you will be able to see the app and use it, and also see the code and everything else. And obviously you can't see my chat because this is completely separate, and you can update and edit it as required. So again, these are just some cool things that they did build it. And then again, you can also select a cloud project if you want to deploy it and everything else. So again, this is a super cool way to just get started with Gemini specific build coding. I believe this will come to Gemini and a more polished version, which is not super dev focused out there. But the best thing that I love about that is that this already integrates all your Gemini style applications, so the APIs gets integrated quickly and everything else, but not super good for building complex stuff. Good for prototypes, which is great, and probably again something that you should definitely give it a try out. Go ahead and check out my other videos on the vibe coding part, on cloud artifacts and Lovable and other tools, and I'm telling you, you'll start getting addicted to creating amazing tools. Go ahead and test them out. If you did like the video, please like, share and subscribe to this. It really helps me out a lot, and I would love to see you in the next one.